and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms! And I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel right here on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. This is the Lightning Flash Update, part number 1 for Friday, June 14th, 2019. And we are going to kick off part 1, as always, with the weekly show reviews. And then stick around for part 2 later on today, because I got a story that happened during Super Showdown that you really want to hear. A backstage fight, apparently, between Roman Reigns and Vince McMahon after Roman's match with Shane at Super Showdown. Let's get straight into the weekly show reviews. Although I really don't know what I could say that I haven't already said time and time again about Monday Night Raw. If you saw the 14th special edition StormsStream with Chris from Loring, shout out to him. If you saw the StormsStream with Chris, you would know exactly my feelings about Monday Night Raw, because literally it is the same show recycled week in and week out. And SmackDown is becoming pretty much the same exact thing. The show started off with Rollins bragging about beating down Brock Lesnar. Corbin came out, and Corbin stated that due to his expert negotiation skills, he's going to pick the referee for the Universal title match at Stomping Grounds. I'm going to say this once again. I'm going to say this numerous amounts of times. Corbin is a very good wrestler. Corbin's a very good wrestler. Rollins is great. Great in his own right. They put on a decent match. They were able to put on a decent match at Super Showdown for the time that they were given. They have the ability to put on a great storyline if they had the correct people booking them. But due to the tired, watered-down shit booking of the main roster, aka Vince McMahon's senile, fucked-up ideas, combined with the fact that they just refuse to get rid of this dead TGI Fridays character that they got Baron Corbin playing, it's bound to be a flop. It's just bound to be a fucking flop. So Zayn came out and he was talking about how, you know, he agrees that Corbin would be a better champion, blah, blah, blah. Owens came out as a wild card. Rollins threw out the challenge to Owens, and we got Rollins and Owens later on. And then Shane and Sami had an altercation backstage, which resulted in Shane McMahon making Sami Zayn the special guest referee for the main event. Segment went downhill real fast. Lars Sullivan defeated the Lucha House Party in dominating fashion in a 3-on-1 elimination match. What I don't understand is, why didn't this happen at Super Showdown? Now, the match at Super Showdown shouldn't have even taken place to begin with, because it completely wasted everyone's time. You could have given that time to Andrade and Finn to put on more of a match. You could have given that time to Kofi and Dolph Ziggler, or Rollins and Corbin even. But you had a 5-minute handicap match at Super Showdown, which was supposed to be a WrestleMania equivalent pay-per-view, and then you basically do what you should have done with Lars Sullivan at Super Showdown, only this time it was in an elimination match. Lars Sullivan pretty much destroyed each and every single member of the Lucha House Party one by one, and even after Lince Dorado and Kalisto got eliminated, he threw them around along the outside before finishing off Grand Metalik with a headbutt. Lars Sullivan finally is portrayed in the right manner, but at this rate, what good is it? At this rate, what good is it after they already gave him a Lacey Evans-like gimmick, having him come out, beat the shit out of someone, and leave? But with Lacey Evans, they just had her run the catwalk up and down the ramp before she actually decided to throw a punch at Becky Lynch. Moving on. After what happened on Raw with the 24/7 title, I really don't understand how anyone can find this funny. The 24/7 title took up 4 segments. 4 different segments. Through an elevator surveillance camera scattered throughout the entire 3 hours, where R-Truth, Cedric Alexander, EC3, Heath Slater, Drake Maverick, and Carmella were all locked inside an elevator with Truth in the 24/7 title. There was no referee, and the people on the outside of the elevator were trying to get a ref, so when the elevator would open, they would pin, attack R-Truth, and try and win the 24/7 championship. Are you really this stupid? Are your standards for comedy really this low? You want comedy? Go watch Dolph Ziggler in the comedy clubs. You want comedy? Go watch Jeff Dunham. Go watch Gabriel Iglesias. Go watch Al Madrigal and their specials on HBO and Showtime. This is professional wrestling. If you find this funny, I do not have any respect for you whatsoever. You do not deserve to be anywhere near wrestling-related material, and you need to get mental help. This is not funny. This is not funny. You need to up your standards. You need to change your mentality. Your mentality sucks. Change it. Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch had a sit-down interview, which really didn't accomplish anything. It was just the same old shit that we've been hearing from Becky and Lacey. Lacey Evans says that she's going to pretty much beat Becky Lynch because Becky is driven by fear and win the Raw Women's title. Becky says she's going to slap the head off of Lacey. This is all leading up to their tag match later on in the night and their rematch at Stomping Grounds. I am very fearful that Lacey Evans is going to win the Raw Women's Championship. They have pretty much put Lacey Evans into a position in which Lacey Evans is pretty much almost doomed to stay in. I don't think Lacey Evans is ever going to recover from this. Lacey Evans should not have been put in a championship title picture this early. Lacey Evans, if Lacey Evans would have actually wrestled during the course of WrestleMania season, instead of walking back and forth on a fucking catwalk on the ramp, she would actually have showed us what she has to offer, and she would have spent some time improving, then maybe people wouldn't be complaining about her, and maybe she wouldn't be in this position. But after what happened, Lacey Evans should not be in the championship picture until 2020. Miz TV with Samoa Joe. Miz called out Joe for attacking Ray and bullying his son Dominic. Joe said, there's no lines and there's no boundaries when it comes to getting what I want. Braun Strowman came out. At first I was like, why is Braun Strowman out here? And then Lashley came out, and then I'm like, why is Lashley out here? Then Ricochet came out, then Cesaro came out. We had a big brawl. And then we had a 6-man tag team match with Braun, Miz, and Ricochet going up against Joe, Cesaro, and Lashley. I am not going to lie, this was actually a fairly decent 6-man tag match. If you wanted to go back and watch this, you could have. This was really, realistically, the only decent part about the show, because it had some decent wrestling. All 6 men did their part. Ricochet, no matter how bad that he's been booked, Ricochet is incredibly fun to watch. He was taking out everyone. He was taking out Cesaro with springboard clotheslines. He was taking out Lashley with super kicks. We had a Fosby flop over the top rope. Ricochet is so fluid in the ring, and he is so fun to watch. I never get tired of watching Ricochet in the ring. We had The Miz getting a hot tag. He did some it kicks on Cesaro and Lashley, I believe. Braun Strowman got the hot tag on The Miz. We had shoulder tackle city. Braun did a running power slam on Cesaro. Samoa Joe broke it up. Samoa Joe tried to go after Braun, and Braun picked him up, but Samoa Joe hightailed it. Samoa Joe ran to the back. We then had Braun get taken out by a spear by Lashley. Ricochet got launched over the post to take out Bobby Lashley. Miz hit the skull-crushing finale on Cesaro, and then Ricochet hit the 630, and it was right on Cesaro's thigh. I did hear that Cesaro was okay, and the injury was not that serious, so Cesaro, he will not be out for however many months that people were assuming because, they thought that he tore a muscle in his leg. So Cesaro is fine. Lacey Evans and Alexa Bliss defeated Becky Lynch and Bayley. What can I say? How many times have we seen this tag team match? Didn't we see this tag team match last week, but instead of Alexa Bliss, Charlotte was in the place of Lacey Evans? We saw this match last week and then 2 weeks ago as well. I'm going to be quite honest here. I just completely lost everything at this rate. I just completely blacked out, and I was mostly on my phone tweeting and talking to my friends, arguing with a couple of fucking idiots on Twitter. Champions lose again. Who cares? Paul Heyman cut a promo, and he was basically saying how Brock Lesnar is now not going to tell anyone when he's cashing in. He said a line, something along the lines of, "No more Mr. Nice Jew." I actually laughed at that. Paul Heyman, no matter what role they put him in, Paul Heyman is a fucking mastermind at cutting promos. I would rather listen to Paul Heyman and listen to him cut a promo for all 3 hours of Monday Night Raw rather than watch whatever WWE Creative has to offer and Vince McMahon has to offer. Just give Paul Heyman the microphone for 3 hours. The Iconics, or the Aidconics, bragged about being the longest reigning women's tag team champions. They defeated a couple jobbers. What did this accomplish? Nothing. This accomplished absolutely nothing. Every time the Aidconics are on TV, it turns into Bimbo Central. Bimbo Central. I'm gonna start using that as a hashtag every time the Iconics are on TV. Hashtag Bimbo Central. We had a Shane McMahon celebration with Drew McIntyre after Shane beat Roman at Super Showdown. This was completely fucking irrelevant. I did not pay attention whatsoever to what was said in this segment at all. I believe I actually went downstairs to get some pudding and animal crackers. By the way, homemade pudding with animal crackers. If you guys have not tried it, there's a certain brand of animal crackers. I'll try and figure it out what it is, and I'll get back to you guys on that. But homemade pudding, that Jell-O brand pudding with animal crackers, I swear it's like crack. It is fucking amazing if you guys haven't tried it. Then we had the Raw Tag Team title triple threat match. But before I even talk about that, why are the Revival and the Usos getting a tag team title match when, A, the Usos lost to the Revival twice after Money in the Bank, in a regular tag match, and then in a six-man tag with Drew McIntyre, and then the Revival got defeated by the Usos during the Super Showdown kickoff, and then the Revival and the Usos both got eliminated in the 50-man over-the-top rope battle royal. They have had their fair share of losses in the past few weeks, but somehow they're getting a tag team title match. Meanwhile, the War Raiders, the Viking Raiders, whatever the fuck you want to call them, the Viking Experience, whatever the fuck you want to call them, they defeated Ryder and Hawkins in 4 minutes just 1 month ago on Monday Night Raw. They disappeared. They only reappeared to get eliminated by Titus O'Neil in the 50-man battle royal. Why didn't the War Raiders get this title match? Why weren't they in this match at all after they were the only ones out of those 3 teams, the Revival, the Usos, and the Viking Raiders? Out of those 3 teams, the War Raiders were the only ones that actually pinned Ryder and Hawkins when they were tag team champions. This match didn't even go 10 minutes. We had a double team, neckbreaker Samoan drop combination by Ryder and Hawkins that got a close 2 count. We had the Usos turn Monday Night Raw into a super kick party. The Usos went up for the splash. Jimmy went up for the splash. Dawson made the tag. Jimmy Uso connected with the splash on Ryder. Dash held Jimmy Uso back as Scott Dawson stole the win. The Revival are your new Raw Tag Team Champions. The Revival won back the titles that they should have never lost in the first place. Why did WWE give the Revival the tag team titles again? Simple. WWE is trying once again to appeal to the Revival's good side. WWE is trying once again to appeal to the Revival's good nature. WWE is trying to get the Revival once again to sign contracts. This is WWE's pretty much apology for having the Revival scoot along their asses like dogs after WWE was pretty much being petty towards the Revival after they refused to sign new contracts, so they had him lose the tag team titles originally to Ryder and Hawkins, and then they had him scoot along their asses to Usi Hot on Monday Night Raw. Now they're giving the titles back to the Revival in hopes that the Revival will sign a contract. And what are they going to do after they sign a contract? Should they even sign a contract? The Revival are most likely going to follow the Usos route, and they're going to lose the titles days after they sign a new contract. They did it with the Usos during WrestleMania season, and they're going to try and do it again with the Revival. I guarantee you right now that the Revival don't even hold the titles to SummerSlam. And if they do, I guarantee you they're going to lose them at SummerSlam. Guarantee you right now, we're going to get the Revival versus the Usos for the Raw Tag Team titles at Stomping Grounds, setting up another rematch. And yet WWE is wondering why Stomping Grounds is struggling in sales. They're wondering why there's been numerous reports over the past few days saying that Stomping Grounds is struggling with ticket sales, and the ticket sales are not good. Now you know why. Firefly Funhouse, I actually love this, and there was reports going around that supposedly the Firefly Funhouse threw shade at Jon Moxley when Rambling Rabbit said, I gotta tell people the stuff that's going on back here. And then Bray Wyatt had Chris Jericho face paint on with a clown nose, and he squashed Rambling Rabbit. We had Rambling Rabbit getting his own jelly. Now, I fucking loved it. I thought it was fucking amazing. I don't really know where it's going to go, nor do I know who Bray Wyatt's first feud is going to be when he makes his debut. But I can't wait. I truthfully can't wait. And then the main event, KO defeated Rollins via DQ. I didn't even pay attention to what was going on in the match. Rollins just destroyed Zayn and Owens with a steel chair as Baron Corbin watched from afar. And that was pretty much the end of Monday Night Raw. You could pretty much tell how I feel about Monday Night Raw. SmackDown Live was no different. Outside of a decent six-man tag match in the main event, but I didn't really even pay attention to the six-man tag match going on in the main event, to be quite honest with you. We had Miz TV with Shane McMahon, Drew McIntyre, and Elias. Same old tired bullshit with Shane and Drew and Elias talking about Roman Reigns. And can I just say something here? When did The Miz all of a sudden become a cheerleader? Miz has become a fucking cheerleader for Roman Reigns. The guy is a Grand Slam champion. The guy main evented WrestleMania. The guy's one of the best promos in the WWE. And the guy can put on great matches at will. The Miz is a great overall and all-around performer. But yet, The Miz is getting put in a cheerleading babyface role during a shit program with Roman Reigns and Shane McMahon. Might I also mention, Shane McMahon has been on WWE main roster programming every single fucking week, whether that be on Raw, SmackDown, or both shows since November. It's been over half a year that we've been getting a 50-year-old Shane McMahon on television every week, whether on Raw, SmackDown, or both shows. And yet, some people like EC3 can't even get 2 minutes of television time unless it's in a shit, bad comedy segment with R-Truth and a bunch of other people from catering. So the Miz defeated Elias. Now, if the Miz was running this little mini gauntlet, and if Miz won, then he would get to face Shane McMahon. Miz defeated Elias, but Drew McIntyre ended up defeating the Miz. Shane ended up giving the Miz his match anyway, and then the Miz taps out to a triangle choke by a 50-year-old Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon tapping out the Miz in 2019. That wasted almost 40 minutes of everyone's time. Bryan and Rowan then came out, and they had these two fucking losers saying that they were the YOLO County Tag Team Champions with cardboard fucking belts. Meanwhile, those YOLO championships are probably even more prestigious than half of the main roster championships as we speak. Because that's what WWE does. They devalue their championships. Heavy Machinery came out, and Heavy Machinery ended up defeating the Jobbers. I'm assuming that we're going to get this match at Stomping Grounds, which I'm actually excited for. I'm not going to lie. I am actually interested in seeing Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery for the titles. Because, I'm a fan of Heavy Machinery, and Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, they're fucking great at what they do. Daniel Bryan's one of the best acts on main roster television right now. I don't even want to discuss what happened next with this 24/7 I honestly do not know how anyone can find this funny. R-Truth got locked in a production crate while Carmella went to her match with Sonya Deville. Jinder Mahal finds him, does the worst Carmella impersonation that I think I have ever heard, saying, "Truth, I'm gonna go get a crowbar." And then R-Truth, like a fucking idiot, the guy is locked in a crate. The guy's 47 years old, and he can still move around like he's 25. The guy's one of the most underrated in-ring performers that they got, and the guy is a genuinely entertaining guy, but yet this guy is locked in a fucking crate, banging on the roof of the crate saying, "I only got 2 breaths left! Mela! Mela!" If I can make myself laugh, man. If I can make myself laugh, you know, that's how I know I'm doing something right. But you get the fucking point that I'm trying to say. Guys banging on the fucking top of a production crate with a worthless championship in his hands, screaming "Mela, Mela, Mela," and then Jinder Mahal doing a Carmella impersonation. Then he comes back later to find out the crate's gone. Carmella's looking for Truth, and the crate's gone, and R-Truth's getting shipped somewhere in Saskatchewan. I really don't give a fuck. If anyone tries to justify that in any way, shape, or form, I am going to personally seek you out and verbalize you. I don't give a shit. You do not deserve my respect, and you don't deserve respect as a wrestling fan, period. Stupidity, and I will say this again, stupidity doesn't deserve respect. If you're going to say this is good, I don't care. That's not an opinion. There is literally no substantive information and no logic behind anything on main roster television that can justify this as being good. Nothing. There is no evidence whatsoever. Zero evidence whatsoever that proves this to be good. The only evidence that people have, and it's invalid evidence, by the way, is the millions of views that it gets on social media. Social media views and YouTube likes does not equate to success when it comes to a business like WWE. The 24/7 title ain't drawing ratings. The 24/7 title needs to stay on social media, and it needs to remain on social media no matter what. The 24/7 title does not belong on main roster television in the way that it's being portrayed. The 24/7 title should not even be a thing at all! Sonya Deville defeated Carmella with the help of Mandy Rose. This women's match didn't even go 5 minutes. They're not even giving Sonya Deville and Carmella enough time to actually tell a good story. And Sonya Deville is actually very good at what she does. I am looking forward to seeing Sonya Deville progress, but if they don't give him the proper amount of time and you're going to have Mandy Rose be the deciding factor in this shit program, basically, because it's meaningless at the end of the day, why am I going to care? And then on top of that, then we had the same old boring generic New Day promo that we've been getting for the past however many months now with Kofi, Big E, and Xavier. This is why I said that the New Day needs to break up if Kofi was to become the WWE champion. Kofi Kingston's role in the New Day has single-handedly worn down his WWE championship reign. That's not his fault. That's due to WWE's shit booking and not giving Kofi a more serious attitude when he's in major programming. Kofi is the WWE champion. Woods is not. Big E is not. Kofi is the WWE champion. WWE has the potential to make a Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa-like feud with Big E and Kofi. They should be singles guys. Big E could be a monster main roster heel. Kofi could be an underdog babyface. Xavier Woods, he could be floundering in the mid-card on SmackDown. That's why he should go to 205 Live. They already added Chad Gable, which I'll talk about later. But if they wanted to actually put 205 Live on the map even more, then add Xavier Woods in there. He could shine, and he could have great matches with the likes of Gable and Oni and Nese and Gulak. Come on. So then we had Bayley versus Nikki Cross, and again, this is the same deal as Sonya Deville and Carmella. This didn't even go about 5-6 minutes. It didn't even go about 5-6 minutes. At the end of the day, who cares? At the end of the day, who cares? Bayley gets the win over Nikki Cross. I don't care. New Day defeated Ziggler, Owens, and Zayn. Decent 6-man tag match, but at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same thing that we saw on Monday with Ricochet, Braun, and Miz taking on Lashley, Joe, and Cesaro. So at the end of the day, who cares? It was just another shrug of the shoulders episode of SmackDown Live. I didn't give a fuck. I don't think anyone gave a fuck, especially what was going on with what was it, E3 and the Stanley Cup Finals going on this week. Moving on. 205 Live. 205 Live, this was actually a very good show. This is a great fucking show. All around. I absolutely love this week's episode of 205 Live. This week's episode may have been 205 Live's best episode of 2019. 205 Live is slowly creeping up and slowly gaining back that momentum that it had in mid-2018. From WrestleMania 34 to SummerSlam, in between that 5-month period, that was the best period that 205 Live had. That was the best fucking period that 205 Live had. You had guys like Murphy and Ali going at it. You had Cedric as Cruiserweight Champion. You had Drew Gulak being built up as a monster heel. And now he's starting to get back that momentum. Gulak's starting to get back that momentum as a monster heel. And he's starting to get his own spotlight on NXT as well. He had a great match with Kushida, which I'll talk about later. But 205 Live started off with a match between Jack Gallagher and Chad Gable. Yes, Chad Gable is on 205 Live. I absolutely love this move. Number one, it adds more depth to 205 Live. Number two, it gives Chad Gable an opportunity that the main roster will not give him. Chad Gable is in a position right now where he could have been a great mid-card act, and I would have loved to seen him fight Balor for the Intercontinental title. That would have been a great match in its own right. But at the end of the day, with WWE's shit booking and this whole wild card rule garbage, where was there going to be room for Chad Gable? So they gave him to Triple H, and now he's on 205 Live. This is a huge step in the right direction for Gable. It's going to rejuvenate Chad Gable's career. It's going to give Gable opportunities to have great matches, just like this one with Jack Gallagher. This was a very good match, started off very technical. Then we had Chad Gable doing the belly-to-belly suplexes on Jack Gallagher. We had a nice dragon suplex, and Chad Gable was able to just get a 2 count on Jack Gallagher. Jack Gallagher was able to fight back. I believe he was able to fight back and send Chad Gable to the outside. Chad Gable caught Jack Gallagher, I believe, as Jack Gallagher went for a suicide dive, and he hit a German suplex on the outside. Turned Jack Gallagher inside out. Picture perfect German suplex by Gable on the outside. Gable got back into the ring. Jack Gallagher could not beat the 10 count, and I did read and report, Dave Meltzer reported that the ref was not supposed to count out both men. The ref was not supposed to count out either wrestler, and Jack Gallagher ended up on the short end of the stick. The ref kind of fucked over Jack Gallagher there. But regardless, Chad Gable did get the win via count out in a good match, so I'm assuming that we're going to get another match down the line between these guys. I'm assuming Triple H will book another match, and hopefully we'll get a proper ending instead of a count out ending. But regardless, I cannot wait to see what Chad Gable has to offer. Chad Gable on 205 Live, think about the matches that he could have. With Nice, Oni, you had another one with Gallagher, Kanellis, Tozawa, Humberto. Chad Gable, great addition. You got Chad Gable in there. You got Oni Lorcan in there. Let's get some more guys in there. I'd like to see some more NXT UK guys in there. I'd like to see Ligero in there. I'd like to see Jordan Devlin in there. Mark Andrews, Flash Morgan Webster. Keep the depth going on 205 Live. And you know what I love? I fucking love how 205 Live has multiple storylines going on. You got Chad Gable, now is a new addition on 205 Live. Mike Kanellis wants more opportunities. You got an ongoing authority storyline with Mike Kanellis, Maria, and Drake Maverick. An authority storyline that's not cringy, and it's serious. And it's an authority storyline in which Mike Kanellis is demanding more opportunities because he wants to show Drake Maverick that he is the best cruiserweight that there is on 205 Live. That's what people should be doing. Going up against authorities because they feel cheated and they feel that they deserve more. That's what heels should be doing. That is a good authority storyline that's not taking up time on 205 Live from the main championship title picture. Next week, we got the Singh Brothers versus the Lucha House Party. We're going to see how that works out. Oh, and by the way, I'm sticking by what I said. The Singh Brothers, they are better wrestlers than Jinder Mahal. And what the Singh Brothers have been doing on 205 Live has been better than everything that Jinder Mahal did during his singles run from 2017 to 2018. And I'm going to stick by that statement. There is nothing that anyone can say that can convince me otherwise. The Singh Bros then defeated some jobbers with the Bollywood Blast, leading towards their rematch with the Lucha House Party next week. So again, Singh Brothers, they're not bad at all. They are not bad at all on 205 Live. They're good wrestlers, and we're going to see how things work out for them on 205 Live with the Lucha House Party. They're not really going to add too much to 205 Live. I don't think the Singh Brothers are really going to add much to 205 Live because, again, they are a tag team. And 205 Live is mainly about the singles guys and singles competition. But regardless of that, we're going to see how things play out there. Fatal 4-way between Akira Tozawa, Drew Gulak, Humberto Carrillo, and Oni Lorcan. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not watched this match, I strongly encourage you to take 17 minutes out of your day to watch these four guys. These four guys tore the fucking house down, and props to them for waking up Sacramento. After Sacramento sat through a shit episode of SmackDown Live, the 205 Live guys made sure that they got their money's worth. This was a fantastic fucking Fatal 4-Way. I absolutely loved it, and everyone got their chance to shine. Everyone did. We had Drew Gulak wearing down both Humberto and Tozawa in the early portions of this match. We then had Tozawa start to gain some momentum. Humberto and Tozawa actually worked together, and they hip-tossed Oni Lorcan into Drew Gulak while Drew Gulak was in a prone position in the corner. We then had some back and forth between Humberto and Tozawa. Double super kick to Drew Gulak. Oni Lorcan came out of nowhere, and he hit a half-and-half suplex on Humberto, and he threw Humberto with the half-and-half suplex right onto Gulak. He pinned Drew Gulak. Tozawa came out of the air with a diving senton onto Oni Lorcan. That was a great sequence in its own right. And then there was another great sequence where all four men were on the apron. Oni Lorcan got taken out, and Oni Lorcan was sent to the floor. Humberto, from the top, did a missile drop kick, sending Gulak off the apron. Tozawa then came in with a cannonball off the apron, sending Gulak into the barricade. And then out of nowhere, before anyone could say anything else or do anything else, camera flashes back to Humberto, and Humberto does a Fosby flop over the top rope, taking out Oni Lorcan. I fucking love that sequence. Love that sequence. The crowd is going crazy. Crowd chanting 205. Everyone in the crowd's chanting, "This is awesome." That is right. That right there. That is the power that Triple H has. Triple H reviving 205 Live as we speak. 205 Live starting to get more appreciation, starting to get more attention, starting to get more eyes. If you're not watching 205 Live, you're living life as a wrestling fan wrong. This show went 50 minutes, and it was better than anything that Raw and SmackDown had to offer. Hell, this 17-minute triple threat, Fatal 4-Way match was better than Raw and SmackDown combined. We had Humberto and Tozawa going at it in the ring. Humberto did that springboard Japanese arm drag. I love that move by Humberto. Very innovative. Oni Lorcan came into play. Double blockbuster on Humberto and Tozawa. Drew Gulak and Oni got into a chop-off. And then Oni Lorcan soared over the top rope and took out Tozawa and Humberto. And Oni Lorcan's feeling it. Oni Lorcan's getting the crowd hyped up. The crowd's getting behind Oni Lorcan. Out of nowhere, Arya Daivari comes in and just whacks the shit out of Oni Lorcan with a steel chair. This Fatal 4-Way had everything. And again, storyline continuation right there with Arya Daivari costing Oni Lorcan an opportunity at the Cruiserweight Championship because Arya Daivari was beaten by Oni Lorcan last week. Back in the ring, Humberto got shoved off the top rope by Gulak. Humberto landed face first on the barricade. Then we had a huge superplex by Gulak. Both men ended up pinning each other in small cradles. Both men's shoulders were down. Tozawa and Gulak were, I guess, dubbed the co-winners of this Fatal 4-Way. It was pretty much a no contest. Now, they could go multiple routes here. You still have a week before Stomping Grounds. WWE, or Triple H rather, could do two things. Number one, they could have Tozawa and Gulak face off against each other in the main event next week, and then the winner of that match will face off against Tony Nese. Or they could have Gulak and Tozawa go up against Nese at Stomping Grounds in a triple threat match. They could go either way with that. I would most likely prefer the triple threat match because I think a triple threat match would be a lot better. I think a triple threat match getting Gulak and Tozawa on the pay-per-view with Nese, that would really put some more eyes on 205 Live. That would really give 205 Live some better exposure. If you put those guys on the main show, I think that would really do a lot more than you think. Especially with Gulak, Tozawa, and Nese. Those three are three great fucking workers that if they were given the time in that triple threat match, I think that they could fucking steal the show. I think they could steal the show at Stomping Grounds. But we're going to see how that plays out. Fantastic fucking Fatal 4-Way. Go out and watch it if you haven't watched it. NXT UK. This show was built around one thing and one thing only, and that was the six-man tag between Imperium and British Strong Style. We started off with a quick standard women's tag team match where Jazzy Gabbert and Ginny established their dominance over Isla Dawn and Zaya Brookside, and that was pretty much that. Next week we got Kenny Williams versus Cassius Ohno, and we also have an NXT UK Women's Championship #1 Contenders Battle Royal next week. So we have that going on to determine Toni Storm's next challenger. I have a feeling that they're going to go ahead with Kaylee Ray on this one, if I was to make a prediction. I think that they're going to go ahead with Kaylee Ray as Toni Storm's next challenger, and we could possibly have Kaylee Ray versus Toni Storm probably next month, sometime in July. And then at the end of August, on August 31st, I think we're going to get Toni Storm versus Piper Niven for the NXT UK Women's Championship. I don't think Piper Niven's going to get the win here. I think that Piper Niven's going to wrap up her feud with Rhea Ripley. They're going to have a match. Piper Niven's going to get the win over Rhea Ripley. And then Piper Niven and Toni Storm will clash for the NXT UK Women's Championship at NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. And that is going to be the day when Toni Storm loses the NXT UK Women's Championship. And you got to remember, their match at the Mae Young Classic, Toni Storm and Piper Niven's match at the Mae Young Classic, it was one of the best matches in the inaugural Mae Young Classic. So, I would love to see that match given 15, 16, 17 minutes. Ilya Dragunov defeated Joseph Connors. We had Joseph Connors pretty much wearing down Ilya Dragunov until Ilya Dragunov came back with his heavy strikes, his intensity. He's very intense. I like the intensity that Ilya Dragunov brings to the table. Although, I don't really like his finisher. I think it's called like the Torpedo Mascalo or Torpedo Moscow, something like that. But it's a running torpedo headbutt. It's a running torpedo headbutt. I actually think his pump handle suplex looks much more impactful than the running torpedo headbutt, to be quite honest with you. He's very intense, and, you know, we do need a level of intensity in NXT UK. But at the same time, I don't know, something's missing. Something's missing for Ilya Dragunov. I think that if they gave him a little bit more of an impactful finisher and put him in there in longer matches, I think that I could start getting behind him slowly but surely. Joseph Connors, he's great at what he does, but Ilya Dragunov was no doubt going to win this. This is only his second match in NXT UK. We had an interview with Travis Banks where he pretty much promised that his hard work is going to pay off. I cannot wait to see Travis Banks versus Walter for the UK Championship. Now, I don't know, however, I do not know, however, who Walter's going to face off with at NXT UK TakeOver I almost said Blackpool. At NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. Travis Banks seemed like the best babyface, in my opinion, to face off against Walter at NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. Now, Chris from Loring, shout out to him again. He did say on last week's StormsStream that he could see Pete Dunne getting one more match with Walter, and that's Pete Dunne's swan song. I would not mind it, and I feel as though with what happened with Imperium and British Strong Style in the main event, I have a feeling that that might be where they're headed. They could have Mark Andrews go on and challenge Walter for the NXT UK Championship. I would like to see Mark Andrews and Walter. I would think that they would probably do Mark Andrews mainly because it's in his hometown of Cardiff, Wales. They could do that, and I think it would really add a lot to that match if we had the hometown crowd behind Mark Andrews, and Mark Andrews had that hometown advantage, and we could really have a better crowd in a way. I would say that when there's a hometown person fighting for a championship in the hometown, that the crowd is usually much more energetic for that match because they want to see the hometown kid pull off the upset. So the WWE NXT UK's creative team could go with that, but we'll see how that plays out. Imperium versus British Strong Style. This was a very good six-man tag match. I absolutely love the back and forth that they have. The tag team moves were fantastic. Bartel and Eichner work like a well-oiled machine in there. We had Trent Seven and Walter getting into it. We had chops back and forth between Trent Seven and Walter. We did have Bartel and Eichner do that spinebuster penalty kick combination. Bartel's kicks, let me just tell you, Bartel's kicks are fucking lethal. Bartel's kicks are like Walter's chops. Fucking lethal. Down the home stretch, we had Tyler Bate out of nowhere. He shoved Fabian Eichner, I believe it was, into the ref, and the ref got taken out. Meanwhile, this mysterious figure, dressed in all black and a ski mask, was walking down the aisle. The ref got taken out. The mysterious figure got in the ring, took off his hood and his ski mask, and it was Alexander Wolfe. Alexander Wolfe made his debut in NXT UK, powerbombed Tyler Bate. Marcel Bartel's looking on and smiling, and Bartel pins Tyler Bate after Walter threw the ref back in the ring. Imperium wins, and at the end, Alexander Wolfe stands toe-to-toe with Fabian Eichner, Marcel Bartel, and WWE UK champion Walter. Imperium is now a four-man stable, and Imperium is stronger than ever. Imperium, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and they're going to be a great heel stable on NXT UK, And when someone finally takes them down, you know for a fact that that babyface is going to get an overwhelming amount of support. But NXT UK, it was an okay show. It was an okay show. It was mainly built around Imperium versus British Strong Style. And I believe that they're going to be building the show more around Imperium as we get further and further into the summer of 2019. NXT. They had the tapings in Bel Air. They are not back in Full Sail yet. They had the Full Sail tapings take place last night while NXT from Bel Air was airing on the WWE Network. Candice and Io versus Shafir and Duke ended via DQ, and a big brawl took place between Candice, Io, Shayna, and the Horsewomen. After Io did that reality check arm stomp that Shayna Baszler usually does, and then Io Shirai did a moonsault, taking out Shayna Baszler on the outside. Candice LeRae did a suicide dive, taking out Duke and Shafir, and the ref just called for the bell because it was getting too fucking chaotic. Next week, we also have the debut of Damian Priest, aka the repackaged Punishment Martinez. Kushida versus Drew Gulak, submission match. This went about 10 minutes. This was a good match for what it was. Kushida is really coming into his own. I love the penalty kicks, and I love the strikes that Kushida does. Kushida is very fluid in the ring. Drew Gulak was wearing down Kushida at one point with an ankle lock and really just bending the shin and thigh of Kushida. It would almost seem like Kushida's ACL was going to rip. Kushida ended up fighting back. We had Kushida with the penalty kick to the arm, and he did the Hurricane Rana reversal into the hoverboard lock, and Kushida gets the win over Drew Gulak. Afterwards, they shake hands in an intense way, and Kushida relishes in his victory as Drew Gulak walks away. In 2 weeks, we got Shayna Baszler and Io Shirai in a steel cage match. Yes, a steel cage match for the NXT Women's Championship. I did not read the spoilers. I cannot wait to see how that plays out. I am very much looking forward to seeing who gets the win there and if they go forth with an Io Shirai heel turn. Next week, Adam Cole, baby, the new NXT champion, is live. We're going to see how that plays out. And then in the main event, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch faced off with Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly of the Undisputed Era. We had Danny Burch fighting back against Kyle O'Reilly after Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, they were pretty much cutting down Oney Lorcan for the majority of this match in the beginning. Danny Burch made the hot tag, and Danny Burch started lighting up Kyle O'Reilly with some strikes. We did have, I think Oney Lorcan soared over the top rope to take out the Undisputed Era at one point. I'm not sure. But this match ended when Jackson Riker came out of nowhere, distracted Kyle O'Reilly. Danny Burch shoved O'Reilly into Strong. Strong was sent out of the ring, and O'Reilly was rolled up by Danny Burch, and Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan win a very good tag team match to cap off NXT, and we still do not know why Jackson Riker interfered. I'm assuming that this is going to lead to the Forgotten Sons getting a tag team title opportunity against the Street Profits some way, somehow. I don't really understand what it had to do with the Undisputed Era, but I'm assuming it probably had to do with the Undisputed Era taking out Jackson Riker with the ladder before NXT TakeOver 25. I'm guessing that had something to do with it. But regardless, decent episode of NXT. Not too much storyline progression, but we did get some decent wrestling. Next week, we're going to see a lot more storyline progression as we got Adam Cole live next week. We also got Damian Priest making his debut next week. And William Regal did announce in the spoilers, this is the only spoiler that I know, that we are having an NXT breakout tournament for talent that has not been featured on television. So I am actually very much looking forward to seeing what they have in store for the talent in the NXT breakout tournament. That is how you build new stars. talent that hasn't been featured on television, you put them in a breakout tournament to have them go out there, showcase what they got, and make a new star. I like it. NXT, doing great things. NXT is doing great fucking things. Keep your eye on them. I cannot wait to see what they have going forth, going into NXT TakeOver Toronto 2 during SummerSlam weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. Do not forget to follow me on Twitter at Man of Infamy. Follow me on Instagram at TheDJStorms. Do not forget to check out the 14th StormsStream with Chris from Loring, aka your boy Chris. I will post a link down in the description. Chris, he is only 6 subscribers away from 100 subscribers, so go and subscribe to him if you haven't already done so. Here's what I also want you to do. I want you to hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit that like button. We're going to try and get this video to 10 likes, I would say. 10, 15 likes is the goal for this video. If you're going to give me a thumbs down, there you go. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas 6 months early. I also want you to leave a comment down below. What show do you think was the best show this week for WWE? What do you see going forth with WWE going into Stomping Grounds, Extreme Rules, and SummerSlam? I also want you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. We are inching closer and closer and closer to 1,200. I believe we are just 40 away from 1,200 subscribers. I also want you to hit that notifications bell with a huge purple Rainmaker elbow drop. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube, because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best time to be on YouTube. I'm going to be looking diligently for a guest for the 15th annual special edition StormsStream. I will let you guys know when I find the guest for it. I'm also talking to Thunder. We are in the works of getting the Thunderscope, the first ever Thunderscope live stream up for you guys. So keep an eye out for that as well. And do not forget to check out the Lightning Flash Update Part number 2, which is coming up very, very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update Part 1. I will see you later on today for the Lightning Flash Update Part 2. You are not going to want to miss the news and rumors that I have for you guys. Peace out.